Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarita, and today I have a double candle review from the company Illume. Illume candle, I-L-L-U-M-E. And I have reviewed a couple of their holiday candles because they have they used to have a core 3 holiday candles. Now they've added quite a bit more. But originally their 3 holiday candles that I think probably the best of the bunch are Winter White, which is fantastic. I reviewed that last Christmas. Balsam and Cedar, which is good, but I don't love it. And the third one is Wood Fire, and it's like a really super smoky, authentic, like whatever. And I really recommend checking that one out too, especially if you're kind of one of those bonfire kind of people. And that would be a candle that you can certainly start burning in the fall. There's nothing about it that necessarily says holiday season. So I've talked about Illume candle before. They're from Minnesota, and they do a really big business, to be honest. They just don't, I don't know if advertise is the right word, but they're not a loud company. They just kind of appear in a lot of different places, often in a supporting cast kind of way, so that, and in beautiful vessels, you may not even know what the candle company is, and you have to kind of look at the bottom. So they sell a lot at, or they did originally with Anthropologie, West Elm, the furniture store, but I see them a lot in grocery stores as well, especially more higher end grocery stores, but you know, like Whole Foods and Wegmans and, you know, places like that. But I'm starting to see them at like regular grocery stores as well. I've seen some at TJ Maxx and Marshalls, but they're really kind of all over the place. Their trademark look was a tin. They come in tins that are like this. They're circular and they look kind of like this. And they pull apart, although sometimes it's a little bit tricky to get them out. And there's usually some sort of design there on the inside. They're single wicks. I'm not exactly sure what wax they use. On the website, it says plant-based. And to be honest, it doesn't feel like a straight paraffin to me. So I was not surprised that it was plant-based, but I don't know that I can tell you what that plant is, if it's soy. Oh, this one says luxury soy. Some of them don't say that. Yeah, this one says luxury soy. So I think probably soy is what they use, but I would imagine that it's kind of a blend of probably paraffin and soy with a good percentage of it being soy. They tend to burn very hot in these tins. So the tins do heat up quite a bit, and you are gonna get sooting because you have to burn quite a long time. Given the diameter and given that it's a single wick, you have to burn quite a long time to kind of get it to go all the way around. And, you know, the heat in the metal kind of help with that a little bit. But your wick gets pretty long, and often you can get some sooting in here. They tend to be one wicks, although they also tend, alongside their trademark look, to pour their candles in a lot of different other vessels, especially when they're selling for Anthropologie or for West Elm. I think originally the company was kind of for interior designers, basically, to have a range of really good candles, but a fairly limited range of them, and then to pour them in all kinds of different vessels that would fit a certain kind of decor. So they're definitely oriented more toward aesthetic, but these ones, which are their signature, and they're fairly cheap, it indicates, as well as the performance and the beautiful fragrances that they have, it indicates that they're not just kind of a design aesthetic company, that they really do care about home fragrance and they care about candles. So it's kind of a really good, like, middle company. Patty Wax does something similar. They're in Nashville, Tennessee, and I really love Patty Wax's vibe and the fragrances because they lean more on the herbal and earthy side of things, whereas I would say that Illume is a little bit more perfumey, and I generally don't like perfume, but for my money, I think that Illume performs better, and I think that their fragrances are just more well-rounded. I think they care a little bit more about the candle itself. So here, for instance, is one of their, like, you know, more design-ish kind of candles. This one is Blackberry Absinthe. They're far and away bestseller, and for very good reason. It has to be probably one of my favorite candles of all times, is Coconut Milk Mango, which everybody has tried to dupe over the last like decade or 15 years. It comes in various different formats. It did come in this, I don't actually have one, but it's a lighter pink than this. It's kind of like a soft baby pink. And then they sold this at Anthropology. This is, as you can see, a Coconut Milk Mango. It was a 1-wick, a glass one, so I bought one of these, and I love it so much. I got this one off of Amazon. This is a huge glass one, and it is a 3-wick, and it was so fragrant because, frankly, Coconut Milk Mango is, I mean, it's just a phenomenal candle across the board. It was so fragrant that for probably about a year, I just left it on the dining room table, and it, like, scented the entire dining room. I didn't even bother burning it at that point. And I still kind of keep it for, like, I don't know, special occasions, or just because as a security blanket, I like having Coconut Milk Mango in this large of a size. I bought this off of Amazon, and it was like in the warehouse. So somebody returned it, I think, for whatever reasons. And I ended up getting it for like 25 bucks or something, which is far less than it should have sold for. But because Illume is so ubiquitous, you can find it almost anywhere, I really highly recommend that you always look for it at Amazon first, because there are so many of them. Amazon sells them and sells them at variable rates, because it's not a company, it's not a small enough company that keeps a lock on all of those prices. So while I will direct you to the Illume website, the prices there are pretty steep. They tend to just kind of sell it at sticker price, which is very high. They give you free shipping like over 100, but it's not a whole lot to write home about. I would order them off of Amazon. If you don't see them in your grocery store, you can always return it if, you know, you don't like the scent or whatever else. It's fine. And you can usually get, especially these tins, at a very reasonable price, especially for how quality of candles they actually are. And I just brought along a lot of them because I just like them all. Like this one's Thai Lily, this is Santal Fig, this one is Oud Wood, and of course the ones that we're doing today, which is Paloma Petal, and I just have a little one here of Terra Tebac, which is what we're going to review. I've got this beautiful sea salt. As I said, they tend to lean a little bit on the perfumey side, but please don't be scared away if you're not a perfumey person, because I'm not, and I find so many of their candles just really lovely and balanced, and not so heavy that I can't like really enjoy it. They're sophisticated too. They're very sophisticated, well mixed fragrances for the most part. And they tend to rely on a core collection that you have a very good chance of seeing in the grocery stores, and I like that. They don't just like send everything out to all the stores that are like brand new things that may or may not be like great. They make sure that they front as a consumer fronting kind of product. They make sure that that product is the stuff that they are absolutely confident in. So you'll see a certain core collection. Coconut Milk Mango will absolutely be in it if you find them in the grocery stores or whatever else, okay? I'm sorry, that was a big preamble, but I really like this company a lot. And I don't hear a whole lot of buzz in the candle reviewing community, and I kind of feel like they should be given a little bit more airtime. By the way, it is actually Maple Grove, Minneapolis, which I think is probably a suburb of Minneapolis, Minnesota. If you're in that area, I just saw this on their website, they're gonna do a candle warehouse. I think it's November 3rd and 4th in their warehouse location in Maple Grove, Minnesota. So if you're there, I think, I would love to go. It's going to be all of their candles, a lot of candles from Anthropology, West Elm. They have a really good relationship. They may even be owned by the same umbrella company. I'm not sure. Okay, let's get to the candles that I want to talk about here, which is Paloma Petal. And I have burned Paloma Petal a little bit, various different other years, but this year I just really burned it in earnest. And I've burned it pretty far down at this point. I probably have maybe one more burn to go, but I feel like I can speak to it at this point. Paloma Petal is one of my favorite candles or fragrances from Illume, but caveats apply because I really don't think that this has enough of a strength or throw to attract a wider audience. But it has gotten under my skin, and it's just one of those candles. You know that there's a certain fragrance that you love so much that you'll put up with it, even if it's like not the strength and throw that you want. And that for me is Paloma Petal. So the blurb on the website for Paloma Petal says, sparkling bouquet of magnolia blossoms is spritzed with pink grapefruit and grounded and comforting sandalwood. So they don't usually give like a whole list or a formal report of the various different notes, but they have a nice little blurb. So what they mention here is magnolia, grapefruit, and sandalwood. And Paloma is a grapefruit beverage, I believe, like an alcoholic beverage, yeah? So Paloma Petal, they're really trying to emphasize the grapefruit, and obviously with the shade that they've used as well. It's really supposed to be about the grapefruit, but I don't smell a whole lot of grapefruit. This candle is primarily, it's almost powdery a little bit. It's a ton of, I think, sandalwood and magnolia, because this is a very warm and like a glowing kind of fragrance. It's a touch perfumey, but because of the creaminess of the sandalwood, it's like cozy almost. A coziness, and then I think the magnolia is kind of offering it that like perfumey floral dimension to it, which makes it really sweet. But I'm just so grateful for the creamy sandalwood because it grounds it, it cuts some of the sweetness, and it's just gorgeous. And I love sandalwood. I think, because I'm not sensing any grapefruit in it at all, but as we've talked about before, perfumes and colognes kind of have a standard formula where you will see bergamot or something citrusy at the top, something maybe floral or herbal or whatever else, and then you have some sort of base, yeah? And for a men's cologne, it's usually like bergamot and then maybe something woody or leathery on the bottom with some musk, etc. Yeah? This is definitely a more feminine fragrance. And while I appreciate the sandalwood, it's not woody enough for it to be even unisexual. With the magnolia blossoms, and then I think that grapefruit is just contributing something that keeps it in the very high range. This says sparkling, but there's really no effervescence, and it's not wet. It's pretty dried, which is why I say it almost smells a bit powdery. I love this fragrance. I could drink it in all day long. And I actually think a lot of people would really, really like this. The problem with it is that I usually can get about a 4 or a 5 out of it maximum, and that's after burning it for several hours. And usually you do have to burn it for about 3 or 4 to make sure that it gets all the way around. You've got a nice wax pull. I usually put this in a very small room and allow it to kind of do its thing. So I think this is definitely a candle that needs more than one wick, to be sure. And I'm really happy because right now they have a line, or design line of 3 wick candles. Here's a picture of Paloma Petal. This is called a statement glass vessel, and it has 3 wicks. And I'm so excited, and I want to get one. Several of their scents are being poured into this kind of a vessel, and it's a fairly large. Did I write it down? Oh yes, 20.8 ounces. That's what's in that big one with the 3 wicks, 20.8. These right here are 11.8 for reference. So 20.8 is pretty large. Also, it has a very high sticker price, which is $60. I would not pay $60. But I have seen some of the other ones in that statement glass on Amazon for something like 25 bucks, which is far more reasonable. Unfortunately, not Paloma Petal. So I'm just waiting and watching because I'm really hoping with 3 wicks, it does better. You know, I know there's a lot of people that's going to be a deal breaker, and I get it. I'm just kind of sharing this candle because it really is one of my favorites. Illume tends to perform a little bit better. So that 4 and 5 is a little under average, even for Illume. Coconut Milk Mango is like a 7.5 or an 8. I mean, it's just a great, great candle. And I have burned other ones of theirs that are considerably stronger than this one. This is one of the weakest ones I think I've burned. But Illume, it shows you, Illume, like all other candle companies, has some candles that are just a little bit too faint and other ones that are not. So by no means is it one of those like luxury companies where like every candle is like giving you nothing. And no matter how masterful the fragrance is, it's kind of hard to get behind. That is not true of Illume. And because they pour in so many different vessels, you can usually find one that's relatively cheap and has a good amount of wax for the money. So that's why I really like the company. So that's Paloma Petal right here. The other one that I wanted to talk about is Terra, I think it's Terra Tebac. There it is right there. See it? Terra Tebac. And I think tabac is French for tobacco. So they probably pronounce it like tabac or something like this. Yeah? But because I'm American, Terra Tebac is what we're going to go for. So I told you that their signature kind of tins look like this. Within the last year, and they've had that for a decade at least, within the last year, they have reformulated their tins, relabeled, remarketed. And so now all of them are starting to come out in this like beautiful, it's got this wraparound label that's kind of textured, and it's got like a tapestry that's the same tone as like the tin. And the wax is similarly, look at that, similarly shaded. And look, the inside, isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. So these are really stunning. They're still going to be about the same price. You know, they just kind of really kind of revamped their whole tin look, and it's beautiful. Here, for instance, is the new Paloma Petal. This is what it looks like. How lovely is that? Ooh, it's so pretty. And then here's a picture of Terra Tebac, the larger format. I encountered this little tiny one at a grocery store at Wegmans, and they were clearancing them all out because I think that they're bringing in some other sort of seasonal candle for the second or whatever, I don't know. So it was 50% off, and I just went ahead and brought it home. It was one of the few that was still there, and I hadn't burned it, and I kind of wanted to. I was interested. So this one says, it's really nice, it's got the scent notes here. Grounded in sheer cashmere musk with a heart of bright tobacco leaf kissed with sunny sweet orange. So once again, and here we've got a pretty standard masculine cologne kind of formula, which is musk with tobacco and then orange. Once again, you've got like that bright element, right? And as with the other one, I'm not smelling a whole lot of the orange. It's a cologne fragrance. And for me, this is a little bit too men's cologne for me to like maybe think about repurchasing. But I have to say that of men's cologne candles, as far as they go, this one is really nice. It's dark, it's deep, it's rich. That brown wax is so apropos. It's almost like cola-like a little bit too, which makes you think like, what is Coca-Cola? Like, why does this smell like? I think, although it doesn't list any spices, I'm wondering if there's some clove or some allspice in it maybe. I'm not getting like a huge or heavy hit of tobacco per se, But there is something that is musky for sure, and that leans almost a little like leathery and tea-like, and absolutely tobacco would fit into that. But I would say primarily it's a really, really nice men's cologne. And while this is little, I think this is 3 ounces. This one was strong. So burning this, I could get a 6 or a 6.5 out of just this little tiny thing. So I would imagine if you've got the larger one and you've got a larger diameter, you're gonna be pleased with the strength and throw on this one. It's really bold, as men's colognes often are. And for it being a fairly standard men's cologne candle, like I said, it's a really, really nice. And I think a lot of people would like it, especially the ones who like a men's cologne kind of scent. And you can't do any better than that aesthetic. It would be great for fall, by the way. So this is like a great, I think actually there may be more people from this review that go out and get this one than the Paloma Petal. I completely get it. This one I've noticed on Amazon is usually pretty cheap as well. You can get this for a really, really good price, even in that statement glass with the 3 wicks. And you may not need 3 wicks for this particular fragrance. So that's Terra Tebac and Paloma Petal. I love Paloma Petal. It just needs more volume. I'm hoping 3 wicks helps once I get it, because I will absolutely be getting it. It's one of those candles I'll just always have, regardless of how it performs, because I just love the fragrance so much. Terra Tebac, I don't know that I would repurchase that, because it's a lot and it's a men's cologne, but I respect it. And I respect the performance, and I love the color, and I love the aesthetic, and I know there are a lot of people who would really, really like it. So there you go. Terra Tebac, Paloma Petal. I will link both of those candles from the Illume website down below, but I'm gonna link Amazon too, because I really think that you need to order your Illume candles from Amazon. There's just no reason not to. So yeah, I really like this company, and obviously I have a lot of Illume candles that need to be burned. So stay tuned for more Illume reviews as long as this channel is up. So good to see you today. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.